All right, here with head cross-country coach Jamey Harris. Jamey, you went up to Oregon this past week. Western Oregon was the host for a meet up there, and you had both the men's and women's teams run. Just kind of give your overall thoughts on the week. What worked well, what didn't work well, and then it's a big week this week for you. Hit the road and go halfway across the country. So just kind of touch on all that stuff.
Yeah, I think we had on the women's side some really good performances, and then I think a couple of people that just were a little too a little more conservative than they needed to be, and so we'll correct for that. And I don't think it'll be difficult to be more aggressive going forward. Okay, get into that as we get to talking about Paul Short, but overall it was slightly disappointing on the women's side, but it was half the team a little off and half the team actually really good. And so if we kind of put it all together, then I think that we can be significantly better than we were even back at the Jim Hunt next week.
You were a third of 8 teams at Mike Johnson Classic, which 8 teams
on the men's side.
On the men's side, yes. And kind of what was going into that? I know you said you're keeping some runners not coming up that week, and so being third of 8 is pretty tough.
And third on a tiebreaker, almost second. I was really pleased with that. The guys ran really well. Our top 9 were not from the Jim Hunt Invitational. We're not racing, so to sit out that more than 7 of our top guys and still be beating some teams.
Coach, what goes into a tiebreaker? Is it just if it's the exact same? Is it the person that finishes first between the teams?
It's the they take your top 5 runners and they just compare head to head, like you're number 1 against their number 1, you're number 2 against their number 2, and whoever has 3 or more wins in those head to heads wins. And so I think George Fox was the team that beat us on the tiebreaker, but they're a very solid D3 program with a great history, and so for our kind of B team to be in the mix with them is not disappointed with that result. And just individually, the guys that ran, Johnny lost a shoe, and just what do you do? Just a rough day, and he's running the vapor flies that were the really high stack, and so when he lost one, it was like there's no sense in trying to hobble, so he just threw it. I didn't see it happen. I just one time he came by, he had shoes. He came by, he had shoes, and then he came by, he's running in socks. I'm like, what? Hey, those he was wearing the Conover socks, and they served him pretty well. I think they were a little slippery, but his feet weren't beat up and chewed up and destroyed. So we'll take that as a win a little bit. But like Jackson, Michael, Elias, they had great races. Pablo had a really good race. So overall, it was a mostly good team performance on the men's side, and kind of like a half good, half a little off on the women's side. So not terrible. I think we could have done better, but we'll take it.
And on the women's side, how do you kind of get more continuity within the team?
Yeah, so I mean, it's just we try things, and it's more of a trial and error thing. Like, okay, we tried that didn't work. Let's go back to doing this one, And so I think it was more of a strategic issue, and a little bit of a breakdown on preparation. That they're relatively easy fixes.
You're running Paul Short this weekend, all the way in Pennsylvania. So that's an exciting trip for your team to go. Not only just a different place, but a whole different set of runners.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's part of the point. From a student athlete experience and a competitive standpoint, is to get out there and race some people that we normally don't see, some teams that we normally don't see, and it's a great event. It's a huge meet. There's 4 races, 4 men's races, 4 women's races. There's high school races. I'm expecting kind of a festival type atmosphere. So the competition will be fantastic. The energy level will be probably higher than any of these, athletes have seen. Even like if they went to the California high school state meet or like our conference or region meet, like those are going to pale in comparison to the size and the spectacle of this event. So.
Is it all D2 or there's some D1 or 3? Or
D1,
just kind of a
D2,
mix?
D3, yeah. It's mostly NCAA schools though, not a lot of NAIA schools, but yeah, I mean they'll be in different races. There'll be nationally ranked D1 programs, nationally ranked D3 programs. There'll be some kind of middling, programs, and so it's a good mix, and we'll have a chance to be competitive in the race that we're in, though. So.
And how do you get your players ready to not just travel across the country, but also for one of the biggest races that they've ever seen?
Yeah.
How do you kind of get them mentally and physically prepared for all of that?
Well, a couple things. So one is we just talk about what to expect, and try to be prepared for showing up and being like, whoa, this is a big deal, and there's 50 people in blue body paint wearing luchador masks running around cheering for whatever Pennsylvania school is out, Penn State maybe, or whoever it is that's racing when we show up. And so just knowing that that's what to expect and what they're going to see helps. We've also been working with a sports psychologist specifically on managing stress and adjusting kind of our arousal and excitement levels to kind of meet that ideal level of kind of excitement, that nervous, energized as opposed to anxious, overwhelmed feeling.
How many runners do you have? I guess men's and women's. Who's coming, and are you having some people who didn't run Mike Johnson or who did run Mike Johnson come and run this?
Yeah, so the women will be the same crew
Okay.
that's run the first two races. The men will be the top 9 guys from Jim Hunt, minus Carson Smith, who's out with a little bit of a medical issue, and we'll hope to have him back soon. And then the top 3 from this last race. So Jackson, who he skipped Jim Hunt because we were just being cautious with his foot, and then Michael and Elias, who ran okay at Jim Hunt, but we needed to see a little more for them to earn the spot to go on this trip, and they showed it to us.
How do you kind of manage fatigue and just preparation as well? I'm guessing you guys must be flying, correct?
Yeah. We bus to San Francisco and then fly to Philadelphia. So Thursday will be a long day. Fatigue-wise, arguably that'll be good for us. It'll be a rest day. It'll keep them, chill and off their feet a lot of the day. That's really been a focus for us for a lot of our team is going to be recovery. So we had our last kind of hard workout today, and for a lot of people it's going to be real easy the next couple days. Really light work tomorrow, mostly just mobility and a little strength work, but we want to be fully recovered and rested going into the race. Fortunately, nothing's early in the morning. You get on the East Coast and things are 3 hours ahead, and that can really put a stress on your circadian rhythm and your timing, and the races are late morning, early afternoon. So sleeping in is not a problem. We don't have to adjust ourselves to East Coast time. We can just get out there and kind of continue on our routine, and we're used to going early in our morning. So it'll actually be later in the day than they usually run when they get out there to race.
I got one more. It's just how much from a team bonding aspect does a trip like this have on your team? Yeah,
it's huge to have this much time kind of isolated where we're out there, just our team. It's there's some challenges with it. Obviously, like we talked about, kind of managing that the stress and the nervousness. Whenever we travel on Thursday, it's great to have Friday to just relax physically, but mentally, like you're in a hotel. Not a lot to do, so you got to bring things to read, and we'll find some things to distract them so they're not just staring at the wall thinking about their race the next day.
That's all I got. Cool. Good luck, Coach, and
Thanks.
looking forward to seeing how you guys do over there.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
All right.
Thanks,
Coach.
Coach.